Our Plant Stories has been nominated as a finalist in the Independent Podcast Awards in a new category called Environment and Natural World. I'll let you know how we get on. Thanks to all those who are regular supporters of the podcast with their commitment to buying a monthly coffee. And to Anne, who also sent some caffeine my way this month, all of which goes towards paying for this podcast, the hosting platform and the editing programme. The link is in the show notes. And now, a plant story. Welcome to Our Plant Stories, and come with me to New Covent Garden Market in London.
At the moment it's like dahlias, cosmos as well, which are obviously those big daisies, one of my favourites. If you had a windy day and a cosmo, it'd be a nightmare.
If you search in the previous episodes, you will find one called Plant Tattoos. Hannah, who you just heard, is a florist. The story she told of the plant tattoos she has to honour and remember her mum are both poignant and beautiful. And the conversation between her and her best friend Maya, also a florist, about floriography, the language of flowers, was a joy to record. At the end of the recording, Hannah offered to take me on a tour of the New Covent Garden Market where she goes to buy her flowers. It's a place I have always wanted to go. So, for this Offshoot episode, let's start there. So it's 6:30 a.m, but in flower market terms, that is really quite late.
Watch out for trolleys. These are Bloomfield, they're my guys. I order from them all the time. So I'll walk you down like Flower Avenue, as it were. You'll see there's like plant suppliers, flower suppliers, foliage suppliers, which is greenery. And then at either end, there's like sundries, which is like where you get your ribbons, your bags, your vases, your silk flowers if you're in that market, all that kind of stuff everywhere. So this is GB Foliage. They get all their foliage from Great Britain. As a general thing, you can buy an avalanche rose in whatever colour you want all year round. But there are lots of other flowers that are definitely seasonal. Peony season's just finished. Dahlia season, as we were talking about, has just come in. So there are definitely like some of the stars are definitely during the season. And you should only buy them during the season because they are better. You probably can get a hold of them outside of season, but they'll be coming from further away around the world, which obviously is bad for the environment, but also means that they might be smaller, more damaged. You're paying a premium price for the product you don't want. Because when you think about it, you're thinking about it in its high season. If you order a peony in December, it'll be a bullet, no guarantee it'll be open, it'll be tiny. It's not worth it. Not worth the money.
But what is it actually like to be a florist? When I chatted to Hannah and Maya, I got the sense that floristry had never been suggested to them by careers teachers or advisors as a really creative industry to look into. Was I right?
Very true.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's not necessarily like it's not their fault because they obviously want all of the students to become lawyers or whatever, in any other, or teachers or doctors and all that stuff. And obviously, floristry, I think, has that traditional backstory of almost being a second choice career, maybe even a third choice career for a lot of people, and they sort of think of it. I mean, in the same stereotypical way that hairdressers or whatever have that kind of stigma attached to them as well. It's seen as an easy job. It is seen as la-di-da. It's seen as really airy-fairy, which obviously me and Maya know more than anyone is definitely not the case. But it's definitely not teachers' fault that it's like that. I don't really blame them. They've also been told to teach their kids everything they need to do to succeed in life. And I don't necessarily think that floristry is a hard career to succeed in, which isn't their fault.
Well, I also think that, like, before I started floristry, I even didn't know what it was. So I think that there's just not really a very clear understanding outside of floristry what being a florist entails. So where most people just think it's just making flowers and selling them mainly in shops, etc., there's just so much more that goes into it that actually lots of other skills you could learn at school, university, doing courses, whatever, feed into, if not just the creative side, but the client liaising, planning, etc. side.
Maths. So the market technically opens at 4. There might be some florists who come in earlier than that, but that's because they've got a pre-existing arrangement with a grower or whatever. But there's no point turning up before 4 because no one will appreciate you being here before 4. That's like their setup time. It's also when they're unloading the Dutch vans, lorries that will have come into the car park. So they'll be unloading from about 2 till 4 here. So they don't want anyone to show up before then. But also, like, sometimes if you come before 5, which I often do, so I often will come between 4:30 and 5, they'll still be setting up their stalls, they'll still be unloading. Doesn't mean you can't be served at all, and it's totally commonplace. I'm not the only person here at that time, but that it's not going to look like it does now. So they almost prep from 4 for 6, and 6 is when I would say a lot of tourists come in at that time. A lot of like people who don't come to the market that often, so will need more help, come from 6, if that makes sense. So from 4 till 6, it's usually florists here. We know what's up. We'll go get our stuff. We might have pre-ordered things, so we'll be here from that. 6 is usually when, you see a lot more tourists that don't want to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, and a lot of people asking questions. Oh, there's no prices on anything. How many can I buy for this? And blah blah blah. See a lot of that from 6. And then the market kind of starts winding down from 8. So it's very like quick, but that's what you'd expect for a normal market, I'd assume.
When you say there's no prices on anything,
Yes.
explain.
So it's a trade market. So it's a bit like, so it's not like a normal flower market where you, like Columbia Road, for instance. It's not like one of those where they're sold in small batch numbers. Everything is sold in sort of a generic number form. So you can buy roses, for instance, in 10s. You can buy hydrangeas in 5s, but filler flowers, say, or like smaller headed flowers, you'll be buying in bulk. So 25 to 50. This market is made for florists. It is made for stalls, shops, everywhere around the UK. They'll ship out from here around the UK and stuff, but it's made for that. So they sell in bulk because it's a trade market by standard. It's where everyone used to get their flowers from early 19th century and stuff, and it's still run like that a lot today. So there's no price on anything. Oh, and also there's no price on anything because all flowers are sold and priced at auction. So it's an auction house system. So in Holland, there's a big auction house where they will allow a trolley going past. Standard. Oh, full of grasses. Wait, look, can you see it over there? Big trolley just full of grasses going out to a lorry. Probably a landscaping company taking all the grasses to their fancy house or something. So all flowers are sold at auction, bought at auction, and that flower price is determined every single day. So every single day, farmers around the world will be cutting their flowers, and a grader will go and look at it and say what grade it's going to be from A to, I actually don't know what the lowest grade is, but most people don't buy lower than A, really. And then someone will determine the price that should be for the whole world. It's dependent on demand, it's dependent on season, it is dependent on length of stem. That's also a common one. The longer the length, the bigger the head. It's general rule. So if you buy a 70 centimetre rose, you're going to have a bigger head on it than a 40 centimetre rose, which will have a tiny head that won't open, say, for example. And so then that means that's, and also if peony, we were just talking about the season of peonies. Peonies in their high season are the cheapest. Peonies in their low season are more expensive because everyone wants them, but there aren't as many. And generally they take a lot more effort to grow out of season, and shipping costs as well, where they're coming from, all that kind of thing. So there's no point marking up anything in this market with a price tag because it will only be true for a day, and then they'd have to do it all again the next day. And when you are a stall holder with over 120 different varieties on your stand, you just don't have time. The market is pretty much only open 4 to 6 hours a day. You'd be spending 3 of those hours just pricing everything, and it just changes all the time. So yeah, it's not worth their time to do it, but all of them are more than happy. If you wanted to ask them prices, they can tell you. It's not a problem. They might have to go check the sheet of the current price that day. But yeah, a lot of flowers prices change all the time. That's why red roses are more expensive at Valentine's Day, for instance, which is the common annoyance of most men. Why are they more expensive at this time? Well, it's because the demand is obviously higher. It's Valentine's Day.
We go to florists at the best and the most difficult times of our lives, weddings and funerals. And I wondered about the skills that requires from people like Hannah and Maya.
I think to be a florist, you do need to be a people person and be quite emotionally intelligent, because as you say, you're meeting people in the extremes of their life very often. I think the nice thing about it is that generally you are making any situation, if it's good, even better. If it's bad, hopefully a little bit more easy to deal with. Flowers never bring sadness, they bring joy. And one of the things I think as a florist, and I'm sure Hannah can agree with me, is when you do see flowers that are not being cared for well, and then they are bringing sadness. It's like the worst thing that can happen. So it's all about that. It's about honouring the person that you're giving the flowers to or you're organising it for. But it's also about dealing with people who are very stressed. A lot of the time, and being very calm, even though they might be stressed, but they don't know actually how much it's going to take to get what they want. So you might be stressed, but you can't show them that.
Yeah, I have that a lot in weddings, obviously.
Yeah.
So when you're meeting brides, or I find in more cases, family members of bridal couples, the bride and groom, I find that they might come at you with immediate stress or anxiety about something, and you immediately have to be able to read the situation, read what's going to solve it, be able to reassure, and also to be a mate in that scenario. I think a lot of the time as a florist, when, if you work in shops or you work my work's mainly in events, and I obviously have my own company with events, but often, if you end up in a shop environment or you're in retail, you end up having to almost be a friend to the person that's facing you. No matter how they're coming at you, you have to almost meet them as if you're meeting them in a coffee shop and try and see through the immediate, whether the facade is, I know loads about flowers and you can't tell me anything, or whether it's, I know nothing about flowers and I'm trying to buy for my, the first girlfriend I've ever got. Whatever they're coming at you with, you need to immediately be that person they would go to the pub with or go for a coffee or walk down the street with quite quickly. And then mainly just to get to what it is that they want. So many people come in and assume that we can read minds, which is a skill I wish they taught us in floristry school. I mean, it definitely isn't, but we have to almost be able to ask them quickly and securely what they need, how can we help them, and also be, as Maya said, meet them emotionally where they might be as well, and try and help them engage with what we're doing, engage with what they're buying, because I think people buy flowers mostly out of emotion for someone else. So you want them to engage with what they're buying. You can talk to them about what they're buying, how to look after it, all those sort of things, but you need to be able to work out what colours are best and what colours does that person wear, and all those sort of questions that don't seem important at the time, but you have to be able to do that quite quickly, and that actually isn't something that they teach. You have to literally learn that on the job.
But that's also sometimes for me where I think both of us have had a lot of experience in retail before sort of moving into doing our own things or doing events. And that I've used the language of flowers quite a lot in my time in retail, because I think that actually one thing you learn is that not everyone's mind is wired the same, where some people think in a sort of creative way or look at colours or this way. Other people think in much more mathematical and analytical ways. And being able to tell someone that this flower that is right here means this, it helps them to sort of be able to give meaning to what they're doing and give a story for when they do go home to their wife or they do go home to their whoever. and give them something. It gives them like a little bit of personal information and extra thought that they kind of have put into it. And I think it makes things seem a lot more special.
I like that. Yes, as you say, it adds another kind of level as well, doesn't it? That we don't necessarily know of. Although I think you guys must have to be virtual mind readers because you're literally, someone's telling you and you're trying to think and peel back the layers and work out what it is they really are looking for or want.
The best is the one that I think neither of us ever feel that sorry for, but we both quite enjoy is the good old sorry bouquet.
Yeah, classic. Absolutely classic.
The good old sorry bouquet. We've both had some real shockers there, but it is quite fun to deal with that situation because sometimes you have to ask them how much do you usually spend on a bouquet, and then you say double it.
Yeah, how sorry are you? What did you do?
Depends what you did.
Yeah, classic.
Do you basically on that one just go for you've got to go all out because if you're going to go sorry, you can't half do it, can you? Basically, that's, you can't.
How much do you need forgiveness? How much do you love them? And that should give you a monetary value.
Yeah, so we do take it very seriously, but we do also have quite a lot of fun with it too.
You've got to laugh about some scenarios that you find yourself in, for sure.
I'm sure you have to. And yes, I can imagine. And I think that, also sometimes I have a florist very near to me who I go to, Eric. And the one thing he always isn't particularly keen on is red roses. Do you have any plants that you're not particularly keen to recommend to people, but people often go, I need to buy red roses?
Gypsophila.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, just baby's breath.
Never do it. Maybe okay. Maybe fine en masse in a big thing, in a big installation, but really just avoid. However, things go through phases. Everyone hated carnations for years. And I think they are stunning. Like, they're so nice, such nice textures, such nice colours.
Easy to use.
Nice to flourish. They last long. Bring them back.
Yeah. I think, I find that the flowers that I probably dislike the most, the ones that I find hardest to use. Gyp is hard because you get it in a big ball, and as you're pulling stems apart, stems break all the time, and that's what makes it hard to use. It also, in my opinion, smells awful.
Horrible.
So bad. But people love it, and that's fine. I mean, at the moment we're seeing a real trend for eucalyptus, which is great, but I think it's a shame when people don't realize you can get over 300 different types of eucalyptus, and there's some really great ones out there. For me, other ones that I don't particularly love are hyacinths, but mainly because they're very short stemmed, and so they're quite tough for us to use. And also,
you're allergic.
And I'm allergic as well, but that's not the main thing. But I find them hard to use anyway. I think tulips are always popular, but I find them quite tricky to use because they're very bendy.
And I'm allergic.
And you're allergic to those. So between us, we definitely have a real plethora of stuff. But as Maya said, it does all go through phases. And also throughout the year, you'll have a season where all you've basically used and all you've basically been asked for and, used on a daily or weekly basis is the same flower.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just desperate for the next season to come around just to use something else. To move on. Yeah.
Winter is hard for that.
Yeah, winter is hard for that. But I mean, to be fair, there's some great flowers in winter, but it's tricky because everyone wants the ones that everyone knows. We know that there are other flowers in season in winter, but people just want amaryllis, which me and Maya both don't love working
Amaryllis,
with.
I think, is actually my least favourite by far.
Yeah,
I hate it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's tricky to use. Hollow stems, they snap a lot. People only want them in mass, so they're always really big bouquets. And people don't know this, but often when you have to order them from florists, we have to actually put a stick up each one. So we have to put a stick in every individual stem to stop it from snapping before we can use it in anything, which makes the whole process so long and arduous. And then sometimes you'll hear one, you'll do a massive bouquet of maybe 100 of them. And just as you tie it, you hear one in the middle snap and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. And that's the moments where you get to the end of your tether a little bit and you're like, I am desperate for spring. Anything in spring. I'll take hyacinths. I'll take tulips. I'll take anything but this.
Oh,
the best flower in the world.
Is this cafe au lait?
Yeah, this is cafe au lait.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, they're so great. just really known for like their dinner plate size blooms. They look different to a sort of standard dahlia. You can see the ones over there are like pom-pom dahlias, look like they're made out of paper, concertinas, whereas the dahlias, the cafe au lait, are spread out almost a bit like trumpets.
They are absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, they're
aren't
my
they?
favourites. My favourites in the world. Love them.
Colour is just...
Yeah, you can get them in different colours now as well. I actually got some for a wedding last weekend that were like an orange. I think they were called Labyrinth, the variety.
As young florists, what do you see as coming trends and what excites you about the future of being florists?
Can I just say I'm so glad you said that we were young.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I love
Trust
that.
me, you are young.
What I'm excited for the future of floristry, I do think like as trends will change and continue to grow over time, there will always be new things to learn, which is so great. And like, for instance, you know, over recent years, us in the floristry industry have seen a massive change to be more sustainable. So as the rest of the world is also waking up to sustainability, florists are as well. We're starting to invent new ways of using, making moss into a reusable base for, arrangements and stuff, how to make stuff into things that are new, repurposing and rechanging. But that also comes with like us all getting to learn new techniques. And that will slowly grow across the world. But I think that's going to grow over time. People are, geniuses are thinking up new things all the time in terms of like, how can we push flowers to new limits? How can we arrange them in a new way that's not been seen before? And that's happening all the time. And it's such a joy. And I think like also, I'm sure Maya will touch on this. We're seeing more people get into floristry from different backgrounds in the UK, especially, which is amazing. And that also brings a whole new viewpoint on the flowers, and new techniques are growing. And it's always exciting. Also, like as growers also get better around the world, we're seeing new varieties pop up all the time, which is also amazing. You see new things that you never see before from the year before, and we've been in floristry for a while, a long while. So it's always great to see something change and something new. It's very exciting time to be a florist, to be honest.
I would say, like, in terms of trends in floristry, from like an aesthetic point of view, there are always really interesting and new and innovative trends coming through in terms of sort of combining aesthetics from around the world into what we're seeing now on like in mass production. And when I talk about that, there's sort of like really an architectural trend coming through. People are using a lot of inspiration from Ikebana. There's a lot more in a very beautiful and elegant way, almost less flowers, more design. However, I do think that there is something to be said for timelessness. And that trends are amazing. I love following florists that are doing new and interesting things. What I really, really love seeing is when people are using like the natural product in an amazing way. So making the most of the shape of a stem, making the most of the imperfections or sort of whatever it is with that.
Quirks. Personality.
Exactly, going through that. And just making really, really beautiful things. I personally maybe go slightly more against like the trends that you do see, and I'm more into like people that are just celebrating how beautiful flowers can be, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
It must be so good when you do a really beautiful arrangement and you just know you've smashed it.
Oh, we've done it once or twice. We've done it once or twice.
It must be so wonderful.
There are those moments, but floristry is incredibly subjective.
Yeah.
And sometimes you look at something and you're like, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever done. It is stunning. I'll send a picture to Hannah. She's a florist. She's like, wow, that's incredible. Customer sees it. They're like, well, didn't really expect that. And you're like, oh, okay. my heart. The thing with floristry is it's so creative and it's so artistic. But when you haven't, this is maybe, I don't know, when with an artist, sometimes they can spend months and months and months closeted away working on a piece because they're so sort of anticipating someone seeing it. Florists are churning out creative things that they're putting like their heart and soul into every time. multiple times a day and having criticism come back, and you kind of have to get a bit of a thick skin around it as well. It's very subjective.
But do you also have favourite moments where you've had someone come in and just be utterly wowed by it?
Yeah, 100%. It's what you kind of live for, is just seeing, especially when you've worked with someone from beginning to end, is seeing someone just be like, oh my gosh. And I mean, Hannah's had this as well as I've had this, is when brides cry at bridal bouquets, it's a lovely, lovely feeling. And hopefully you catch some pre-makeup, but it's just so nice.
I've started at my wedding. Sometimes I'll take photos of the reception room after I've finished, and as I go up to their room, I'll give them their bouquets, obviously, but I might say, would you like to see it now? And they go, yeah, I'd love to see it. And like, the reaction is honestly everything. It's the whole reason you do it. That's why most florists, wedding florists at least, will end with handing over the bouquet. Like, they want to end on that note. They want to be able to walk away and be like, I smashed it. Like, and it's the best feeling in the world to know that you really were there for someone at that moment, and you got to make that day even better for them. It's just such a joy.
I think also just the pure thing of you going to the market and seeing like the perfect thing, and something that just makes you you really connect with the flowers when you see them, and they're just so amazing.
Do you both go to the market to buy flowers?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think it's something that we've done since we studied floristry. And for me, it's one of the main things I love. I mean, a lot of like retail floristry shops won't do it. They don't have time, and that's fine. And they've got a lot of other stuff to do during the day. For events, it's one of the main joys. For me, it's one of the main joys of the job, is being able to drive to the market at 4 a.m. through an empty London, and being able to just like go and see everything, even if it's not for whatever event you're doing that week. You get to go see everything. You get to go see flowers. Like, people who go into the market who, don't only have ever been into their local florist will see flowers they've never seen before. They'll see colours they've never seen before. They'll smell things they've never smelled before. And it's such an experience. I really wish everyone had the tenacity to get up at 4 a.m. to go, but I'm aware that not everyone does.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've just given me, potentially, Hannah, if you're up for this, an offshoot, because I don't know.
Oh my gosh,
if Hannah...
Sally, I would take you any time. I'm desperate to take more people. Everyone keeps going, I want to go with you sometime, and then never happens. Sally, if you want to go, I will take you.
The market is just amazing. Like, I feel like also to be really good, especially in events, you need to go to the market.
Yeah.
You need to see what's there, because you just can't plan on what was there last year, because there's always new things. And like, for instance, the best event I ever did, and I will ever be the best event, was I did my brother's wedding. And I planned everything. Everything was planned. Me and Hannah did it together.
Yeah, we did.
But went to the market and I saw this massive like mound of old man's beard. It's like clematis. And it was not on the brief.
It was not.
But it just...
We had to have it.
Had to have it. And I just
had to have it.
I just like sort of traipsed around the market holding this over my shoulder. It was huge. And the old man's beard was the thing that my brother remembers the most from the flowers. He loved it so much. When I saw it, I just knew he would love it. And I knew Amelia would love it. It's just stunning. And, it's those moments where you're just like, wow, this place is amazing. And also it's an experience in terms of, the people as well. Everyone is such a character there. It's really great.
You get sellers who've been, their store was originally their great grandfathers in Covent Garden Market where it started.
The majority.
The majority of them are they're family businesses. They will always probably be family businesses. They've been in it for, since they were 8 years old and whatever. And like, and also like you see florists from all different parts of the UK there. Like, people travel so far to get there sometimes, and like it's just an absolute joy. Like, one of the greatest experiences of my life is when I'd been enough times that people started remembering me, and they'd come in and be like, Hannah, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. And I'd be like, I have made it in floristry. Forget the brides and grooms. If these guys remember me and they're looking at hundreds of people every week, I have made it. And now I've got such good friends there. And I love seeing them when I have to, like when I go. And it's just such a joy. Like, apart from the flowers, sometimes the people make it there.
100%. And also the cafe is really good.
Oh, the cafes are great. The cafe's great. I mean, maybe it's because it's 5 a.m. when you're going, but I think the
that's so
cafe is one
true.
of the greatest bits.
Sadly, the cafe was shut the morning I was there, but I'm going to use that as an excuse to share with you, dear listener, that you can now buy me a coffee. It's a way to show support to Our Plant Stories, currently an independent podcast without any income. So any donation, if you've enjoyed the series so far, will go a long way to helping with some of the monthly costs of making a podcast, such as the editing system, the podcast hosting platform, or the recording app. And it will really help me as I start to work towards Series 2 of Our Plant Stories. You simply go to the website, ourplantstories.com, and click on the Buy Me a Coffee tab.
Yeah, thanks, Sam.
That's all right, no worries.
Where's that asparagus stand? Is it outside?
You can take a right and follow the...
Yeah, thank you. There's been a couple of times where I've had to come and just pick up something really quickly. And so I've got the tube. And then I'll be on the tube that it's in with, because you go back at like 6:30. Half the tube are in suits. Half the tube are carrying obscene plants and IKEA bags full of stems. Yeah, very funny. Very funny. And yeah, and it's generally it's just awe-inspiring. I think you would agree after looking around today.
Love it.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah.
I need to come back.
I know. Yeah.
Should we go and wander further?
Yeah, should we go wander?
If you have enjoyed this offshoot, but haven't heard the episode called Plant Tattoos, I do recommend you take a listen. In this podcast, we always learn how to grow a plant. And in this case, it's freesias, because that is one of Hannah's plant tattoos. Our Plant Stories is presented and produced by me, Sally Flatman. Thank you for listening. If you want to show your support for this podcast via Buy Me a Coffee, then the link is in the show notes or on the website ourplantstories.com. I promise you, your virtual coffee will go towards the podcast, not plants.